Hey Jan, here's your extremely late lesson video for what, 2 weeks ago. We were talking about, at least what's on my sticky note, what I remember, playing melody and adding the bass notes of chords. So see, this kind of idea that those are the two kind of defining elements of a tune, and the internal notes of a chord. Like, say you're playing a G chord, right? And the melody is on the D. If you just play the G on the bass and the D on top, you kind of get the sense of what's going on, or at least the real bedrock of it. And then these notes, right? Or, you know, if we have the third in there, kind of flush out that sound. That's kind of what, you know, if you were going to put things in some sort of hierarchy, the melody makes the song, and then the bass kind of sets the chordal harmonic movement, and then those other notes that we put in the chords support all of that. So the song tune I was just messing with this concept was just to have a simple melody to play is Hey Jude by the Beatles, rather than do like a nursery rhyme or something that, you know, you might never want to play. But they're good, but you can just do those whenever you want. Figured we'd do a Beatles tune because it's a little cooler. So it's in G, and I'm gonna make you a chart of it too to put on the site so you'll have it. But the idea here is just two notes, right? So bass and melody. Sorry. Right, so I'm just playing the bass note. Right? So when you that's the idea. It's a really great way to learn a song, kind of free, just to get an idea of how the song goes without having to, you know, do these specific shapes. So a lot of times I'll try to make, especially if the chords are down here, I'll try to make them like, if I can grab the melody note the way that I'm used to. Like I usually make G like this. So if I'm grabbing this D, it's nice, but you could grab it like that, or even like that. All fine choices if you're just thinking of two notes. It just depends on what you're going to do next, or what else you might want to grab. I know in the classical world, to get really specific, I'm just dabbling in the, you know, playing Bach and stuff, just so I can learn more about it. But a lot of times they'll play G like this, and you won't hit any of the other notes, so you only have to use these two fingers. But that's because I'm going to grab some things here, and then I'm going to be able to grab things up here. Whereas if you're like this, you can't get there. So which finger you use for that bass note really dictates where you're going to be, especially if you want to hold it, if it's possible. So all that to say, anything's kind of up for grabs. I'll put some fingerings on the chart, but you can do whatever's comfortable. And yeah, just hear the melody. This is that note's where the chords shift, so I'm hitting an open D. Still over D. Like here, I'm not even, you know, maybe I'd hit that D again, but it's open, so I can move my hand around wherever. And it's back to G. C. And then it goes up to this note, which is, so if you're gonna make C regular, in order to grab that note, I might go try to remember to make the C like that with my first finger, or my middle finger, if you can stretch that. And then you kind of gotta, that's an awkward phrase. Like in the classical world, they would probably have you do it like that, so you could go. But that's, you know. And that's so you could keep that note pressed down to have it ring. So that's always an option. But if you end up just improvising and you find yourself here and you know, you're kind of stuck, you can always just let it stop ringing and move your hand where it needs to go. So it's good to have options. Now we're on D again. And then here does this little that part. You can grab it with the ring if you want. Middle seems easier for that note. But it's this pinky on the 4th fret, F sharp to G. So the whole thing here is just to play it really slow, kind of, don't worry about the time. Really just listen to the melody and the bass movement together and get used to saying. Now I know the next chord, D. G, C, G, D, G. It's pretty full sounding, right? It's just 2 notes. I mean, you're playing more notes than that, obviously, but it's only ever 2 notes at once. So you're not going like. You know, playing the whole chords, which is kind of another way to play, to have the. Making the whole chord shape, keeping the melody on top. What would be good? That's a little out. So, it's a great way to learn songs. I think I've told you a couple times by now. One of my favorite players, Bill Frisell, talks about learning songs that way all the time. It's really gets your fingers good at doing some kind of awkward gymnastic kind of movements, because you have to hit these 2 notes at the same time, and it gets your ear used to hearing the melody with the bass. And then as you progress, even if you just add 1 note, so, right? So just add a convenient note in the middle. Say I wanted to get the 3rd in there, I would go here. That's a tough one. So I just added one more note. So I'm just thinking right there, instead of just those two, I'm adding that open B. So it's super fun. Once you get into it, you can really just sit down with the guitar, figure out songs, and make them sound very full. And yeah, helps you get around. So check out the chart, go real slow, and I'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.